I am joined today on Transformations by Karlin Chan, a lifelong New Yorker and member of the Chinatown community. Karlin is an independent community activist and advocate. He is the founder of the Chinatown Mural Project, and due to an uptick in Asian hate crimes at the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, Karlin founded the Neighborhood Block Watch. Welcome to the Transformations podcast. Here, guests and I will share our transformative experiences and will explore how to find excellence in life.
All right. Okay, what are we talking about here? Freaking gangs?
Welcome. What?
We're talking about freaking gangs? We're talking about that gang stuff?
Gangs and fried rice.
Gangs and fried rice, man.
Jails, fires, all things Chinatown. So, I've been wanting to talk to you for a long time here, and I'm glad that we found a time when we can sync up. Usually it's 10 minutes in the street on Mott Street or something else to say hi in passing. First, I'd like to start out with, let's just start with 2020 and then go backwards after that. In 2020, you started the Chinatown Block Watch. Is that correct? Because of the uptick in Asian crime and Asian hate?
Yeah, it was a time right before the lockdown, roughly about 2 or 3 weeks before the city went into lockdown. A lot of people already avoided coming out unless they needed to buy groceries and stuff. And the thing was, we already started seeing the xenophobia in December of 2019, 3.5 months before the lockdown. A lot of people were blaming Asians for this current, COVID-19 and stuff. And, there was a lot of, racism has always been there, but, it was, instead of being, it was more overt instead of, people actually, verbally harass people instead of keeping their mouth shut, like, before the pandemic, before this COVID-19 thing.
Well,
so being an old school guy.
Yeah, we had leaders in the country promoting the Kung Flu and other stupid things. That didn't help. That started people knocking out old ladies and just doing crazy things. I mean, it's just hard to believe.
Yeah, well, it kind of like, that kind of talk to me, it kind of like, gives the green light to, to be out with your racism instead of keeping your implicit bias to yourself. Now you can go out and attack someone and your leaders will stand up for it. I mean, that whole talk during COVID-19 and the early days of it, back in the starting in actually December, January, February, that kind of gave the green light for everyone. Say, oh yeah, let's go. You can go ahead out there and call Asians COVID-19 or whatever. It wasn't good. I mean, being an elected leader, I mean, you should try. It's your job to keep the peace. Basically, you're not supposed to be fanning flames of discontent or of hate or anything. But the talk coming out of Washington, the talk coming out of certain circles in local government, even it was like it kind of encouraged people to come out and attack Asians, and sadly, a lot of the talk. We're still seeing an attack. We had an attack just last week in New York City on the subway on the F train, where 3 teenage girls were yelling at an Asian, a Chinese couple. Last name was Young, so I assume they're Chinese. They came in from Reno, and the thing is, these are 16. The girl arrested was 16 years old. It still happens. It's just the press, mainstream media covers it. It's like the flavor of the month club or something. Spread to these things, right? So. It's kind of old. 2 months ago it was anti-Jewish hate, but now that's not even being covered anymore, unless it's a really horrific attack. I mean, this one with the subway with the 3 young girls, that made the media. But a lot of these attacks don't make the media anymore.
Yeah, it's like you get desensitized to it. It's no longer the viewers are used to hearing it, the people, so they move on to another hot topic and. People don't realize that all that hate and violence and human rights violations are still happening.
Well, people are, I wouldn't say desensitized. I mean, it's kind of like, it's kind of like the norm. You hear so much about it, but, you got to be I would be more cautionary that more people will fight back now. I mean, you see these attacks, you hear about it on the news, or you may have witnessed something like this, and if you happen to be of that ethnicity, or even not, you see something happening like this. People, I see some people beginning to fight back, and it's I've had enough of this shit. And the thing is, like, I've stopped attending these rallies and stuff well over a year ago, because I don't need the elected to be standing there and attack on you as an attack on us. We're going to do something about it. Strengthen the laws, lock these people up. I mean, there's no sense. It doesn't make any sense when you're saying, well, all right, we're going to catch these perps, but if you're going to catch them, well, why do a catch and release? You're going sport fishing. You can't go sport fishing with criminals, with people who are violent. I can understand being that I'm involved in helping crime victims and others in the system for a long time. I used to spend almost 3 or 4 days in the criminal court building, either in Manhattan, Brooklyn, or Queens. So I do recognize the need for bail reform for certain, for nonviolent crimes. Let's say petty larceny. Someone has to steal to support their family. Maybe you don't know the situation, but we have to look at this on a case by case. With the extenuating circumstances. If someone's stealing things to sell on the streets, no, he needs to be punished. But if someone's stealing to feed the family, that is entirely different. So, but I think it went a little too far, and with this anti-Asian hate, anti-black hate, anti-Hispanic hate, anti-Jewish hate. They hate everybody out there.
They hate everybody.
Everybody, literally everybody has been attacked at one point or not. So, and we need to strengthen these things. Now, being a veteran of the court system, I recognize that a hate crime is hard to prove. Right. So a lot of times the DA's office would drop the hate crime charge as long as they feel secure in winning a conviction on the top charge. Right. A hate crime charge doesn't really add a lot of time to the sentence. So they would drop that, because sometimes if you fail to prove the hate crime charge, you may diminish it depending on the charges and the specific incident.
Aside from being an advocate, do you have a background in law?
No, actually not. I know so many lawyers. I know so many lawyers. I work with so many lawyers and stuff, and even people that, even people that go into the 100 Center Street, they tell me, hey, you're in here more than I am. It got to a point where all the judges kind of recognize me, and I'm sitting there, and they it's nice in a way, because I go to court, I sit in on a lot of cases and a lot of trials, because you need to show that the community cares. Right? I mean, after the headline, you have a rally, blah 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 blah, bloom bloom bloom, and that's it. You call it a day, and that's not the way it works. You need to show up in court to show that the community cares, and the judge sees this, the ADA sees this, the defense attorneys see this. So I spent a lot of time in these court buildings.
Yeah. So you're both an advocate and an activist for the Chinatown community. Well, why don't you describe how you kind of see those two terms, and in terms of what you do on any given day to help prop up the neighborhood?
Well, an activist and an advocate, they're kind of interchangeable. As an activist, you're pushing for some kind of change, or you're pushing for, let's say, I push for criminal charges a lot on certain attacks, and or to upgrade charges on certain things. Let's say I've been trying to upgrade charges on what they call one-punch deaths. Right? So a lot of times, because I was involved in 3 cases where a person died because of one punch. With the DA's office, they can only charge him with a third degree assault, because with one punch it's almost impossible to show intent to do serious bodily harm. I mean, the guy could be 6'5" or something, but one punch, there was no intent to kill the person. So they the DA's office, the way the law is written, they do have difficulty in proving this. So, I mean, a lot of people, you get punched, you fall back, you hit your head on the curb. you crack your skull, and 3 days later you die. All right, it is still third-degree assault. So I think the law needs to be tweaked that way. I was talking to lawmakers, out of the New York State Assembly and the Senate years ago, but they were saying it's not going to change because of the caucus.
Wow. Do you get much support or much help from the different Chinatown family associations, the benevolent associations, and so forth? Are they also helping in that way, or do they kind of just advocate for their own groups?
Well, the family associations, they basically help their own members and stuff, but I do get support from different traditional Chinatown CBOs,
Mm-hmm.
fraternal organizations, and family associations. They're not out there, vocally or whatever, but they do support me behind me. I'm kind of like a cross between old school and new school. Right, so
Right.
I'm vocal. I talk American, okay, So
Talk American, yeah.
So I'm out there, but I'm also traditional old school.
Yeah.
I grew up in this family association and CBO stuff. Meanwhile,
Okay.
a lot of the younger ones that have never been even exposed to a family association, they're just learning about them.
Right.
But then that's the association's fault itself, because all the meetings are held in Chinese, and if you're a second generation American-born Chinese or something, you don't speak the language, you don't read the language, you kind of treat it as an outsider. But some organizations and family associations, they recognize the need to incorporate younger generations in there. So they do have like a bilingual, and they do have a youth auxiliary or a women's auxiliary now, which it only helps. It only helps their organization. I mean, most of these organizations, if you're trying to hang on to take a picture at a New Year's dinner, everybody's in their 70s or 80s. You're not going to last to 190 anywhere, right? So it's smart to just for the longevity of your association. Most of the new immigrants come in, they don't care about your association. They're waiting for you old people to die off so they can take the building and sell it.
It's a shame, and now there's a lot of Mandarin Chinese coming into New York, where it's been, Khoisan, Cantonese, Hong Kong. So even the language and they don't have those same, cultural systems have been kind of taken out of them. The family associations and business associations and so forth.
Well, most of the Chinese beliefs, we all still go back 100 years to Confucianism, the family unit and stuff. So most of that belief is still there across the different language, like the different regions of China. It's still the same among all different ethnic groups within China. There are so many ethnic groups within China, so many dialects. But the thing is, when they start their own organization. So right now we have hundreds of organizations from the new immigrants from the last 25, 30 years. And most of the people they moved into Brooklyn, so they started CBO, an organization in Brooklyn. Yeah, they have different family associations, different regional associations from depending on what part of China they're from, a different village even. A college, maybe a regional college in China. So, there's so many different organizations right now.
Be good if they can pull together somehow just to promote Asian culture generally or Chinese culture generally, strengthen the neighborhood, the laws, things for the elderly, for the children. I don't know. It's kind of we don't see that for all other organizations either. I'm just speaking pie in the sky, but
Well, I think the only common thread is maybe for the seniors and fighting for the children. I mean, everybody can share that, depending, no matter what your political leanings are. I mean, among the Chinese here, Chinatown here, we're famous for shooting ourselves in the foot, especially when it comes to an election. There were so many different opinions here. Chinese here. We have a council member who really has avoided Chinatown since the primary again. I just had a phone conversation. I just get off the phone here, and they say, I haven't seen this guy, your council member, around. I said, well, the primary's over. He doesn't need to come around anymore.
Yeah.
Enough for the monkey show. I mean, before that, oh yeah, I'm really concerned. But he knows the support is not in Chinatown. You have a handful of people. But with the unity, there's so much splintering. That's why I work independently. And right now I'm kind of settling more on my forte, helping crime victims, helping victims in general. Because a lot of people don't take the time. It's very involved, though. I mean, it's a lot of time. With the Yao Pan Ma case, it was well over a year. I'm still on that, really. We're still tying up loose ends on it, but it was every day. It was every day for 8 months that I was involved in that. I spent every day out there. I'm running up to Harlem, arranging for the healthcare and everything. Not a lot of people is going to commit that kind of time to it. I'm sure you come to the rally. Oh, we got to stop this Asian hate. That's nice. That's all good and everything. But how many people would actually spend every day of 8 to 9 months, right up until his death, and after that, it slacked off a little bit. But I'm still there, making different arrangements and stuff. It's a certain amount of commitment. It doesn't come easily.
Right. Yeah, it takes a fortitude and a belief and a genuine love of the community to put that much into it, really.
Yeah, that's the way, Corkey always called me, Corkey Lee, he passed away 2 years ago, but he always called me boots on the ground. I'm a boots on the ground type of guy.
Boots on the ground.
Yeah. I'm the dirty Harry of activists, I get in the ground there. Right.
But with a guandao instead of a gun.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Hey, the one I carry is the big dragon one. It's like 15, 20 pounds.
Is it? That's a good one.
Yeah. I'll still, so I'm getting back into it a little bit.
Yeah. So you started with in Jook Lum with Lam Sang, is that correct?
Actually, I started with him back in 1978 sometime.
Okay.
Before that, I was into that Taekwondo, Taekwondo, Goju, karate, Hungar.
Nice.
I dabbled in a little bit of everything, but when he moved back to the United States back in 70, I think it was 77, 76, 77, he came back from Taiwan, and we kind of convinced him to start
teaching again.
Yeah, he saw what was going on, so he was all right, I'll take you guys on. So he took there was 7 of us at the time, and then he took on Donald from Boston, Donald Wayne, and I forget the other guy's name. Larry. Okay. Yeah, he took them on. They came down on weekends. We were there Monday to Friday in the back room.
Right.
It was pretty cool.
On that second floor or third floor in the
building? It was in the Masons building on the second floor. We have a back room, which I call my secret chamber now. Well, that's where we practiced. So there was 8 of us in the back.
Wow.
We did it 5 days a week. I still have no hair on my arms because of that. All the pores are gone. But it was good training. It was very good. But more importantly, it's like you can learn the martial arts and stuff. You learn how to hurt people, whatever. But you also you also learn the other side of it. You don't need to fight unless you have to fight.
Right.
It's that implied. Yeah.
Now you are, and correct me if I have the title wrong. Are you president of Hung Ching?
No. I'm the elder now. I've been the
elder at Hung Ching. Okay.
I'm the senior advisor, and I'm also I'm the chief advisor, right? And
nice.
I'm the elder. I've been there since 1969. Jesus,
that's when I was born, 1969.
So I've been there since 1969. So I used to follow the line dance.
54 years.
Yeah, you hold the flag, hold the stick, or something, and then that evolved into line dancing, drumming, and other stuff.
Mm-hmm. And Hung Ching, is that like I'm going to use a baseball analogy, like a feeder program for Hung Mun, or is it its own thing?
No, actually,
like a youth program, like a youth.
Hung Ching is the athletic club.
The athletic club.
Back in the back in the 50s, you had a group of people who were interested in martial arts. So they started holding these meetings, and Hung Ching was actually officially formed in 1956, right? Where they officially opened up, uh, uh, Hung Ching. Before that, there was no Hung Ching. Right? Boston has a Hung Ching, but they only took on the name Hung Ching after 1956. Before that, it was called Gung Hao. So Boston's actually celebrating their 75th anniversary. Meanwhile, in New York here, if we're not doing anything this year, but it'll be our 69th anniversary. Was it 68th anniversary this year? 56.
So on 70th, you should do something.
Yeah.
You know.
So, but it wasn't a training ground. It was just where where they wanted to do the lion dancing and do the kung fu stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all these guys are gone now, but several of them were pretty well known in the in the martial arts field.
Yeah, I was just in Boston, Chinatown. I saw the Hung Mun, but I didn't see Hung Ching, a sign for it. I was up visiting the Jinsun Chu Tai Chi Center,
Mm-hmm.
Vincent Chu, the son, because his father passed away, and my daughter's going to Boston University, so that's why I was up there, taking her to show her around, and and I was like, I got to make a pit stop.
Yeah, their club is on the second or third floor on Beach Street. Beach Street,
Okay.
but they're going close. They're on the other side of Harrison, which is it used to be known as the combat zone.
Right.
For the 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I've never been up there.
But
I've been up to the old club, but I've never been up there. You gotta walk the stairs. I understand having an elevator, but I get up there, I'm pretty tired, so I walk around all day. I'm pretty tired.
I remember last summer or the summer before. I don't remember. We were talking, and you were talking. There was a heat wave, and a lot of the electricity went out, and some of the seniors in the buildings didn't have air conditioning, or it was hot and they just didn't have it. And you were advocating, I think, with their landlords to get them air conditioning or something. I don't know if it was subsidized housing or something like that. So that's kind of outside of the criminal thing. That's something that you do also. Was making
that's the advocacy part of it. You're trying to improve the neighborhood. So with the heat waves, Chinatown is mainly comprised of 120-year-old tenement buildings.
Right.
These buildings were built in the day of gas lighting. I back in 1970, I think it was 71, I walked into a friend's apartment on Mott Street, and as we turned into the living room, I noticed a little glass shade, lampshade, and I saw a little tube coming out of the wall, and I said, "What is this?" "Oh, that's a gas lighting." I said, "What? Does it work?" They go, "No, they turned off the gas. They capped the gas, but the lamp is still there." But these apartments were built in the day before electricity. And the thing is, they added the electrical wiring, but we're talking early 1900 or so, or early 1900s.
Like the knob and tube stuff that isn't up to
code. I mean, this is built in the day before refrigeration, before air conditioning, before TVs. So most of the wiring is for 5 amps or 10 amps per apartment. So.
Wow.
So when you're talking about heat waves in New York City, which is luckily we're kind of cooled off right the last 2 weeks, but when everyone's running their power, you don't have enough power to run an AC in many apartments unless the landlord had upgraded the electric. Now we always have politicians, they're advocating for upgrades to NYCHA, the public housing that New York City actually runs, right? But you forget, they kind of forget that a large portion, half or more, of the affordable housing stock needs upgrading also. So I mean, I've been talking to people about that, but then, it is what it is. I mean, it's not the flavor of the month, but
Right.
You need to preserve and upgrade your existing stock of affordable housing.
For sure. And with the neighborhood more gentrifying, I mean, almost every week there's another, neighborhood restaurant is closed, and there's an optometrist, another one or another, gift shop is closed, and another store is closed that's been there forever. And it's like the rents just keep raising, and The neighborhood's changing,
Yeah,
and
that's actually where I came from just now. I went to visit two business that are closing in 2 weeks. Right, one is the rice roll noodles. They make the curry fish balls with rice noodles. All right, she's run the stand. She has a push cart on Center Street by Canal. She's been there 24 years. All right, so I went to see her earlier, and she's saying, hey, it's not that profitable, and the thing is, in the winter you freeze to death in the winter, and when it's pouring, you're getting soaked out there, and when it's hot, you're sweating to death. So she goes, she's gonna look for another, a job, something with medical coverage or something. And you can't blame her. She's not that old. I think she's under 60, so she's not that old. But it's a rough life, and then you have to deal with the nut jobs that go by and throw things at you or try to steal something off your cart. Right? Another is the Goodfield bookstore. I just came from them, and they're closing. His father actually opened several business bookstores along Mott Street back starting in the 60s. So this current location that he's closing was actually opened in the early 70s. But he's in his 70s himself. He's 72 or 3, so he's retiring. But these stores, gift shops are a business that used to thrive in Chinatown because used to be able to source the product from China or Hong Kong at a fairly cheap price, and you made a decent profit with it. But now at one time in Chinatown along Mott, we had 15 or more Chinese gift shops. But now most of them are run by Pakistanis or Middle Eastern people. Indian. There are only 3 gift shops left after he closes. But it's the price of the rent. But I think it kind of benefits the Chinese gift shops because people come down to China. I don't come down to China and get a freaking "I Love New York" T-shirt. I came down to China and get something Chinese, right? Maybe a kipao or some kind of a Chinese shirt or something. Something Chinese. I mean, Statue of Liberty. Geez, I can get that anywhere, Times Square.
Right.
So it kind of benefits them. They're all selling the same generic stuff. There's a big one on Mulberry Street that opened 2 months ago, and right now the old Chinese American Trading Company that's being renovated, and from the looks of it, that's going to be another gift shop.
Nice.
I wonder how these people make money. I mean, you're all selling the same Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. Right? I Love New York T-shirt or aprons, license plates. Right? You can only cut a pie into so many pieces before there's nothing left.
Yeah.
About gentrification. I mean, Chinatown's been gentrified. If you go up on Mott Street, everything north of Grand, there's only a couple of Chinese stores left up there. But it's a natural process. I mean, this was all Italian and Jewish when I was a kid here. Right? Everything west of Mott Street was Italian. Everything east of Mott Street was Jewish. Chinatown was all of 3.5 blocks. Right? And then the Chinese pushed everybody out. You invested into the neighborhood. People want to open business. People started buying the buildings. People got old and they want to sell their buildings. Yeah. So I mean, it's a cycle. Right? And before the Italians and Jewish got here, it was German. Right? Back in the 1800s, it was a German. This was a German neighborhood. Right? The old Barbie Ballroom that burnt down. They had a huge fire. You can Google this information, but right along where that 50 Barbie Hotel was, there used to be a German ballroom. I never saw it because I'm not that old, but I do remember the arcade there. They had all the Jewish stores. It was an open air arcade, and with the glass ceilings and all that stuff. You used to see these all around New York City, but you don't see these anymore.
Right. I was in Bensonhurst, which used to be Italian, and it was like a Chinatown popped up. I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting the old Italian neighborhood, and I bumped into it was a nice surprise. I bumped into a Chinatown.
There are 7 Chinatowns in Brooklyn. You have one in Bensonhurst, Gravesend, Avenue U. They have Bensonhurst, Bay Ridge area. There were several down in Brooklyn. There's Sunset Park. In Queens, there are several Chinatowns. There's the large Chinese Asian community in Long Island City now, in Astoria. So that's the thing with this Chinatown here. To stay competitive, we need we don't need a lot of bubble tea because We have
Right.
we have a lot of bubble tea, and mostly a lot of people opening these what do you call it, dessert type places, ice cream,
Yeah, I see
bubble
that.
tea. It's all good, of course. It's better than the vacant storefront. But we need a mix. I mean, Chinatown, I'll say maybe 20% of the residents are no longer Chinese. We have all ethnicities. We have black, Puerto Rican, white. I mean, as long you move into a neighborhood that's Chinese, mainly Chinese, right? You know what you're moving into. So don't move over and say, "Yeah, you're stupid." Because you're going to get pushback on that. But
Right.
everybody moves in there very. Most of them are very nice. I only in all these last 7 or 8 years, I only met one person who was kind of racist. You just curse them out.
How come is it there's like a fire a week in Chinatown? I mean, the Me and You bookstore and next door just caught on fire, across from Columbus Park, and there was another building, a family association caught fire a couple weeks ago, I think, or a month or so ago, I remember. Is that because of the electricity, the old electricity? And
Well, we had the one big fire that killed 4 people,
yeah.
80 Madison Street, but that was caused by e-bike batteries. And
Mm,
then the U&B books it started in the deceased's apartment. They haven't pinned down the exact cause yet, but that was more of a smoldering type fire, and
okay.
it didn't actually. Luckily, it did not burst into flames because
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the apartment was kind of cluttered a little bit. But sadly, he passed away, and his dog passed away. But I took care of that, and he, I did a freedom of information request, and I got back his partial military records, and with that, I was able to give him a military funeral. So
Oh,
he's
wonderful.
interred in what is it, Calverton, which I just found out a few weeks ago that it's the second biggest military cemetery in the country after
Oh,
Arlington.
wow.
I did not know that. Right, but he did the right thing by him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that one building, the facade started coming off. I
Yeah,
remember
that
you had posted something about that. You were
I was
so
there
generous.
yesterday. I was there yesterday morning. Right, the facade, the brick face, actually, uh, it was 7 or more inches off the side of the building.
Wow.
Okay. So when they did that, when they put out the brick face, this is the old school brick face. Now it wasn't that stucco that you paint on or something. They
Right.
didn't. They did the job, but they didn't maintain the building. Yeah, the old
Right.
saying about healthcare, right? An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure. Exact same thing with the buildings. You have to maintain the property, or else they deteriorate. The water seeps in from the roof or whatever, and it's going to weaken whatever's holding your brick face, or it's going to weaken the bricks itself, the mortar that holds the bricks together, or the or rot the wood that's holding your floors up. Right, so you have to maintain the buildings. Uh, there are bad players who do not maintain their buildings, but some try. Another problem is to get the funding. A lot of these apartments are still rent controlled, rent stabilized,
Mm,
and landlords, you can only collect X amount of money, right? And real estate taxes keep going up. Uh,
right.
I mean, during the pandemic, many small property owners, you couldn't go after someone who wasn't paying the rent. You couldn't raise the rent on commercial tenants and stuff. So a lot of people actually stopped paying it. Yeah, they took the money, they took the relief money, and some people actually, because they lost their job, they actually made out. I mean, if you made $100 or $200 a week, right now the government's giving you 2,500, right, which is a lot better than that 200 I was making. I mean, some people, with a couple with 2 kids, they made out pretty good.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, some people did not make out. Right? Not everybody got that kind of money, but
Wow.
like everything else,
So,
there's a lot of fraud. But sooner or
yeah.
later, they'll catch up to them. Hopefully, it's like with nine
Yeah.
11, with
It'll come
911 and
around
stuff
at
like
some
that.
point.
Yeah, they're still, once in a while they catch someone.
Mhm. So in the 1980s, I think, was that the height of like the Asian gangs, in Chinatown, the teen gangs and the younger gangs, the 80s or 70s,
No, I think it was the early '80s, right?
early 80s.
There was a couple of.
It's like Ghost Shadows and
Ghost Shadow's been around since the 70s.
since the
Uh,
70s.
yeah, Ghost Shadow's been around since the 70s, 72, 3. Yeah, they started on East Broadway. Then they came in one night and displaced the other people. I think it was the White Eagles at the
Yeah.
time.
I saw a documentary on it recently, and I learned that I didn't know that the Chinese gangs were working with the Italians for a while, and then they split off and wanted to do their own thing, and because Little Italy and Chinatown, for those who are listening and don't know, are across the street essentially, um, and I wonder how the uh, that kind was it a kind of an uprising against the old guard in Chinatown. You had the family associations, or Hung Moon and Hip Sing and so on, and the gangs didn't want to be part of those, or the kids weren't allowed to join, or so they start their own units and try and take over. How do these things kind of start in
Well,
Chinatown?
well, like criminal enterprises, you're there to make money. Right? Bottom line
Yeah,
is the dollar. All right, so you're there to make money. So your loyalty is basically to the money. So you work with other like-minded enterprises. And, if you make money mutually, that that's it. It's like one corporation dealing with another corporation.
yeah,
You don't care what I don't care what color you are. Right? The color green. Show me the color green. The money. Right? That's what we care. We care about one color, and that's green. We don't
yeah,
care. I don't care what about your skin color. We can make money together. Fine. Right? But it's like most people, the loyalty is to the money because you're in it to make money.
yeah,
Well, some kids got into it to look big or whatever, but a lot of times the fights were pretty stupid. You know what I mean? You know, especially in the 70s. You look, you walk by and you look at them and say, what the hell are you looking at? I mean, I don't know. You don't even look at the person, but I'm looking in the store, but they happen to be standing next to the store, and boom. Sometimes a fight would break out or something, but it's blown out of proportion a little bit, much like Tong Wars back in the early 1900s. You know what I mean?
right,
Tong Wars. The opium dens. Come on, if you're running an illegal business, all right, but you're gonna let white women with their little sun parasols in there to take a picture of you laying there smoking an opium pipe. Give me a freaking break. Stuff like
right,
that didn't happen. You're running. You're being persecuted for being Chinese in the first place. Right. So now
right.
you're going to open up the tourism. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. So, but
Hmm.
this was all staged by a guy. I forget his name, but I think it was Moran or something. But he used to be known as the Godfather of Chinatown. He ran a bar or something on the corner of Doya and Chatham Square, Doya and Bowery there. Right. So to bring money, he actually opened up this opium den to take pictures. I
Oh,
mean, to this day, I still hear people talking about opium dens, these tour groups. I mean, no freaking opium dens. All these apartments used to be, houses of ill repute, prostitution. All right, yeah, really. All right.
everyone.
I remember seeing two elderly Caucasian women. They're walking the block, and she's telling her friend, "Yeah, all these places." And you remember this from your youth, you know?
Well, that's all the stories. Uh, Movies like Year of the Dragon, um, talking about the mob and the drugs and the triads in Chinatown, and um, all the old books and pulp fictions of the day, you know, talking about that, and then newspaper reportings, about the Tongs and San Francisco and New York,
Yeah,
and so forth.
I think a lot of that. There's a lot of what do you call it, embellishment in that stuff too.
Yeah,
Uh, at the time of the Tong Wars, we had Tammany Hall. They have all their rackets, so they needed to divert attention away. So let's blame it on the Chinese. Down in China, they're chopping people up and they're leaving bodies left and right. Yes, they were. There was a certain misunderstanding, and the history of it goes back to a woman. Like Helen of Troy launched 1,000 ships and started a big war. And the same thing was started over a woman. Women were very scarce back in the late 1800s. Because simply after the Chinese Exclusion Act,
Right.
people, and after the San Francisco fire that burned all the archives and records, you're not going to send a woman over here, right? So, all the paper son phenomenon started. So, you would send a healthy son here to make money and hopefully send the money home, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna. Uh, so all this Tong Wars stuff, chop chop. There's a lot of embellishment in it.
Are the gangs prevalent today as much as they were in the 80s? Because I visit Chinatown, I don't see gangs running around, but they
Well,
could be in there
I think
in their
in the old
businesses.
days, in the seventies, early seventies, and into the eighties, they would have a favorite coffee shop or a restaurant they would hang out in front of,
Yeah.
or they would that would be where they congregate. Nowadays, it's more like the mob now. I mean, you don't have a social club anymore. You're drawing attention to yourself. I mean, most of these gangs or whatever, they're one or two persons, and it's all this modern crime. On the internet, you're stealing IDs and stuff like that.
Right, right.
They are centered in karaoke bars. I mean, in Queens, you don't see bands of kids roving around anymore.
Yeah.
It's something from the past. I mean, I'm not saying there's no criminals out there. I mean, but it's usually just one or two people. Um,
Hmm. Yeah, with the internet, it's almost like the crime is now white collar crime because you're just sitting at a computer.
yes,
You're not out there.
basically, it's not. I don't think there's that that extortion stuff that used to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you can call it extortion when a person walks in there, with a plant on New Year's. Say, hey, Happy New Year's. You know what I mean? Here's a tangerine plant. You owe me $150 for that. But
Yeah.
then they say, I said, okay, you should give me a red envelope in return, right?
Right.
For the well wishing, and it was
Yeah.
just the price. But
Hmm.
that stuff doesn't happen anymore. It was just kids running around.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember,
Yeah.
I mean, all the kids were 14, 15,
What
16. Right.
what are some new things that you're putting your efforts into that you're able to connect with to help the community?
Well, I'm actually falling back on my forte of concentrating on crime victims
On
and
the crime
victims of
victims.
other victims. But
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to run around for 15 or 16 hours a day anymore. Uh,
Right.
I don't go to a lot of these meetings anymore because, I always say, you have three people in a room, you have five different opinions. I don't have time to spend 2, 3 hours a day here talking about this or that. I mean, I think that's better off left to a younger generation who like to talk. I'm just the
Hmm.
boots on the ground. I'm the Dirty Harry of activists.
Yeah. Yeah. Are they still putting that jail in Chinatown? I remember
Oh
we had
yeah,
talked about
I just came from there. I take pictures. I go down by there every few days. To check what the progress. They just lifted up. They installed a big crane last week, and they
that. Mm,
lifted up a bobcat just on Tuesday. So they're getting ready to take down the exterior wall of the North Tower next week sometime.
wow.
Meanwhile, we have people in the community that's saying, "Oh yeah, we have adaptive reuse." They're still holding their own press conferences or meetings. Says, "Oh yeah, we got a lot. We've been knocking on doors. We have a lot of support." They had one other council member from Flushing who signed on to the adaptive reuse thing. You know what I mean?
Mm,
But yeah, it's like, see, I like to spend my time to dispel fake news. There's to me, it's kind of you know. Some fake news being spread around to benefit themselves or to make their org or whatever.
you've got to get some sidekicks, Dirty Harry sidekicks,
Yeah, I'm
to
really
help you out.
I
You're a
should.
one
I mean,
man show.
yeah, and
That's
it takes a
hard.
lot of this pandemic thing took a heck of a lot out of me.
Yeah.
Running around 16 hours a day. It's
So you had mentioned Corkey Lee before, and you started the Chinatown Mural Project. And I know that one of the paintings on the walls there's a painting of Corkey Lee there in his honor.
yeah. That was that was a tribute wall we did 2 years ago. Right,
Hmm.
we did it in August of course, I always, every time I pick a project date and everything, or we happen to have, the three of us have time, it's always the hottest freaking day of the year, and it's
Yeah.
always the most humid day of the year too. So we like to abuse ourselves that way, but yeah, we did that. It was a nice tribute. I curated the project, and we were thinking about how to do this to make it more, uh, appropriate. So I decided on like a Ming porcelain look. That's why it's in shades of kind of like ivory with blues. There's no other color on there because in full color I don't think it would look proper. So I love it the way it came out. I mean,
It looks terrific.
we got to get down there and touch it up because some of the paint is chipping or whatever. So, I think maintenance is something else, So thank God nobody's defaced it except for one guy who sprayed the sriracha all over it one day.
Sriracha. Well, that's better than paint.
Yeah, that's we have these EDPs running around, so I think he grabbed a bottle of sriracha from the sidewalk stand and just sprayed America or whatever. But that's that's a collection of paintings. Well, actually, photographs. The bookends of photos I took of him.
Oh.
Right. The center image is a self portrait he did of himself, and the two side images of him are photographs I took of him. One of them was during an American Legion parade, and I saw him walking by, and I said, "Hey, Corkey, cut me a salute," and that's why we have him on a salute. So that's
Nice.
a picture, and that's my picture. And the other one was it was during it was during a parade. I was on a float, and he was walking around with his vest and everything. I think it was Chinese New Year. It was unseasonably hot that year, so he of course he had his camera slinged on. So I took that picture from a float. So this way, they're my pictures. Nobody can say. I mean, these pictures I took. I mean, these are my images. Right. So
it's immortalizing people who are important in the community, and people who have done something and excelled in an area like photography, and so forth. And I think it's a great thing to immortalize. It's not just Tong Wars. Look, we've got photographers and musicians and masters and all kinds of talented and brilliant and educated people here in Chinatown.
Yeah.
And plus it makes some of those big walls look nice.
That's the thing is we have a shortage of walls in Chinatown. If notice all the Chinatown that we don't have too many walls. So actually we have 5 murals down on the Lower East Side, on the other side of Allen and Pike Street, because there's more walls there. Right. A friend of mine happens to own the lumberyard, so I have 2 murals up over there. Right.
Nice.
And, but if I can find a wall in Chinatown, we'll paint it, man.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I can approach the parks department. Maybe I can paint the park house. I'm not an artist. I mean, Peachy's my artist, right? But I come up with an idea, and she puts it on. She drafts it out on her iPad thing, and then we just work from there with it. And it kind of morphs in on. It kind of like comes to life on its own, and we just keep on adding different elements and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Well, you got to keep back up with the Jook Lum, keep active so you stay in shape. But you're running around a lot. You look good.
Well, I go cycling every morning. I mean, now that the sun comes up around 5:30, 5:40, I got all these flashing lights on me, even on my person. I look like a fire truck going down the street. So if you don't see me or you're honking me, that means you're freaking messing with me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't miss me. I mean, it's dark out, and I'm flashing like a freaking disco. Right.
Right. Oh my!
But you still find me speed. It's just to get the exercise. There's a saying. You rest, you rust, and I totally believe that. I'm at an age where I need to, you need to whatever. So I joined the gym actually just 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Are you going to go?
Yeah, I've been there twice. Yeah, I've been there twice since in the 3 weeks that I joined. Right. Yeah. So I mean, it's a nice facility. It's like 50,000 square feet almost. And I go there, and I tell you, there was like 13 or 14 people in the place. So you basically have the whole room to yourself.
It's like your own spot.
Yeah, that's real. I mean, I don't do the weightlifting or anything. I just do the just to keep the motion in the arms or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
So
strutting around like some 20-year-old. I joined a bike tour one time. It's called the Grand Fondo. Right?
okay.
This is about 8 or 9 years ago. I go up to pick up my bib and jersey, right? So I go in to check in, and I see these strapping 18, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, right? They walk around like, oh, this, that. I said, yeah. And I say, whoa, these guys are serious. I mean, it was a bike race. So I said,
Ah,
I'm going for a ride, maybe. You know what I mean? It's a bike race from like Midtown Manhattan up to Bear Mountain, and it's a very hilly ride. So I actually never rode it. I said, I'm not competing with these kids, right? I'm out there just to get some exercise. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
can continue eating what I like to eat once in a while.
That's right.
Uh,
Just ride across the Manhattan Bridge and back, and you'll be fine.
I
You
don't
know.
like that Manhattan Bridge. I go up on the Greenway, the West Side Highway. I go
Okay.
right now. I go up around 80th Street. There's like
Yeah.
a children's play set, monkey bars, where I do some stretching and everything. I ride back down
Oh,
to the Circle Line around 42nd Street or whatever. I rest there, have a cigarette, of course. Yeah, I got to fuel up, you know. And I ride back
you
down.
got to fill the lungs back after you
yeah,
clean
yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah, that's it.
Remarinate the lungs.
Yeah, I mean, I go up fairly early. I mean, it's still dark when I'm heading uptown. So basically every morning I'm seeing the same people. Some of them are jogging by and says, "You serious? You having a cigarette?" I say, "You want one?"
You want one?
Yeah, you got to add fuel to the tank, right?
Right, right.
Right. There's a fuel to ride. It's like when I do these bike tours, 50-mile tours or whatever. Standing there, walking away, and people are riding by. Hey, you're the man. I say, "You want one?"
Yeah. It's like, you lift enough weights and do cardio, you have extra bowel bun or something, or
Yeah, I
some
mean,
some bubble
hey,
tea.
no. I try to avoid sugar now. I
Yeah,
love sweets. I have sweets, ice cream, dessert, cake, and stuff. That's my kryptonite. But
yeah.
you try to avoid it. I mean, you get getting on. Your body, internally, you can't, you just can't keep up with that kind of stuff.
Mm-mm.
That all that
Mm-mm.
sugar and stuff, sugar, salt, stuff. So I eat actually very uh, in the summer, especially more fruit based diet and stuff,
Yeah.
veggies and stuff. Right.
Well, you got all those vendors there. They're all over Chinatown, so you can just grab any block you're on. You can get lychees and mangoes and plums.
Actually, I have not eaten a lychee yet this year. I had the
Huh?
longans. I bought
Okay.
3 pounds at one time, but that's a lot of sugar in there. Even though it's a natural form of sugar. Mangoes, I had
Right.
one
Still
this
a
year.
lot.
Like I've been eating dragon fruit lately. Like
Okay.
the red one and
Hmm.
the yellow one. It's I have a red one in the morning and a yellow one in the afternoon. And I don't know if you noticed, but you think my hair is getting a little darker?
Yeah.
Yeah, my old lady said, "Hey, I
Mine's
don't know what."
filling up.
Right? He goes, "I don't know what the hell you're eating, but lately, but your hair's getting a little darker."
Oh, I got to do a red yellow dragon fruit then. I got to follow the pattern.
Hey,
I'm
it's
getting
cheap
some
now.
gray.
The red dragon fruit is the $2 a pound. No, normally
Uh,
sell for $7, $8, $9 a pound. The yellow ones sell for $12 a pound, and right now it's 5. I don't know what it costs down in Philly, but
hmm
excuse me.
That's the smoking that's coming back on you.
No, I think it's me talking dry
The
throat.
microplastics in all of our shirts that are going into the atmosphere.
Yeah, actually, I was reading something about American cheese. That pasteurized cheese slices that we all put in our burgers and
Hmm.
sandwiches and stuff. They're saying there's a lot of microplastics in that. That is
Yeah,
not all, because if you and they made a good point because if you got a block of cheddar cheese, you cut it, it kind of like breaks off. It's dry and everything. So that the stuff, it's additives in there
it's
and everything. But
crazy.
and most of the stuff we eat, contains some kind of poison or not. You know what I mean? They say that
Right.
about aspartame. I've been drinking aspartame ever since it came out. I think it was 1980, 79 or 80 or something like that. So I've been drinking that, Diet Coke stuff for what 40 some odd years. And
Have you died yet, Karlin?
no,
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 you haven't.
I haven't
Well,
died yet. So I look pretty good for a dead person. I actually said that to a friend of mine. I didn't see him in 20 some odd years, and somebody told me he died, and I bumped into him in the street. This is about 6 years ago. I says, "Oh shit." you look pretty good for that guy. He goes, no, that's not me. That's my brother that died. That's
Oh.
right.
That's one of these Chinese, you raise them from the dead things, the
That jumping zombie thing.
the jumping zombies,
Yeah, right.
the hopping dead.
Yes,
Yeah.
the hopping dead from the Qing dynasty. I forget the Qing dynasty, what they call Qing dynasty. It's Qing dynasty to me. All right. Hey, you guys are having a big fight against that 76ers stadium, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there lawsuits going on?
There's some stuff there. We're trying to put it next to Chinatown or in Chinatown.
Yeah, it's right in Chinatown.
Yeah, because our Chinatown here in Philly is expanded across Vine Street, and there was a police station parking lot off to the side that's now going to be turned into a park or food court or something. Right. And they have that new crane center went up, and and now they're like trying to fight to get the not have that big stadium there blocking up all the traffic and everything else.
It's going to kill the neighborhood. It's going to
help tourism because the people go there, eat in the stadium, see the thing, and leave. They don't leave the car there and walk into Chinatown.
Right. And it's just going to all that traffic that take away everything in parking. People will be afraid to go into Chinatown to have a meal because especially on game day. It's exactly what happened to DC Chinatown. They built the Staples Center there. I think it's called the Staples Center. Where the hockey team plays, and that closed just about most of the Chinese business along the street. I think it's on West 6th Street or something like that. But that Chinatown's it's hanging on for dear life. But that's different from here because most of the Chinese there, they live in Maryland, just across the bridge, which has some nice dim sum places in Maryland. I've been to a couple of them places. They're huge, and their dim sum's not bad. It's better than Manhattan Chinatown, which is sad.
You're not allowed to say it.
Yeah. Well, the Chinatown here. People crying Chinatown's dying. Chinatown's not dying. We need to evolve. We need to mix, add it in, business that will bring in other people. So it's, there's that, what do you call it, trickle down economy and stuff. So we can't be erecting walls around Chinatown. So Chinatown is not exclusively for Chinese. Okay, everybody should understand that. And we try to close our society by putting up some kind of a mental barrier or other keep objecting to other people opening a restaurant down here. Yeah, we're gonna fade away. Because landlords need to pay their property taxes or pay their mortgages and stuff.
Right.
So that's why that's the fake news that I'm trying to dispel. That's why I put in the Bayard Bugel. It's like news briefs, keep people informed of what's going on in their own neighborhood or whatever.
This podcast is called Transformations. So I'd like to ask you to share how your work as an advocate and activist for the Chinatown community has in some way transformed you as a person over the years, from your outlook as a younger gentleman till today through this work.
Well, I say as a younger gentleman in my 20s and 30s, I was much like everybody else. It was like, hey, I went to work, you made a decent paycheck and everything, and you went out on weekends, or you went out 2 or 3 times a week for dinner or something. You would hang out with your friends on weekend. You would check out the clubs or whatever. But as you get older, I don't feel it. I stopped drinking 22 years ago, just before 9/11 happened. And then when that happened, I was a first responder out there. So that changes your whole outlook on things, and you realize, back then it was a lot of people who had a disadvantage because of the language. A lot of immigrants, even the old school immigrants, many of them who have been here for 30, 40 years, never really bothered to learn more than a few words in English. And, to this day, I sit on Mott Street, have my coffee every morning, and, and I have senior women coming up to me and, with a letter, hey, what does this say? It has to do with their benefits or, SCREE or HHA or some kind of benefit, or sometimes their landlord will send them something. So it's no bother. I look at the letter and I try to explain it to them. But it's good that we do have nonprofits now that provide the service also. But sometimes they're overwhelmed also, and sometimes people just see a recognizable face there. So there's a certain amount of trust. Of course, these are not the haters. I do have a lot of haters, followers, but
you have to.
It's all good. I ignore them.
Doing the work that you do, there's going to be people pushing against it.
Yeah,
and that's just the way it is. But you've got a very distinctive look. And for the people who are listening to the podcast, go to YouTube and watch the podcast so you can see Karlan. And that's how the people recognize you in the morning. That's how the woman recognizes you on the street, having your coffee. You've got a very distinctive boots on the ground Karlan Chan look.
Wait until I dye my hair. Nobody's gonna recognize me. I want to walk down the street and nobody can say, "Who the hell's that?"
I want you to dye it red, like a redhead.
Well, I actually have red and blue, right? But it doesn't go. It doesn't go on. Right. Yeah, the color. I have a temporary color. I got from the place called Ricky's or whatever. So I was trying to dye my hair, my beard especially, red, white, and blue for July 4th.
Oh, nice.
But it doesn't go on. It's like very light. It's a washout color stuff.
As an outsider, I appreciate all the work you do up there in Chinatown in New York, and I'm glad to be your friend and to be able to have this chance to talk to you.
Yeah, Mark.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, actually, I was going to go down there for that July 10th demo, but something else came up over here. Man, yeah, it just didn't work out. I was planning to join that demo on July. I think it was July 10th, right?
Yeah.
It was a mass demo. You had like 5,000-6,000 people show up. Yeah, yeah, all the student groups and everything, which was good because you need help. You need help from others, and
right.
And I was down in Pennsylvania with the Christian Hall thing back in 2021 and 2022. Right, so I think we're just waiting for the lawsuit that Ben Crump had filed. Ben Crump and Devin Jacobs. Right, so I've been meaning to get back down that way. Make some noise. I work with a couple of groups from Philly.
Yeah, when you come down, let me know. I'll join in and we can say hi.
Do you ever stop by Chinatown? Kyung's place.
Which one?
Wei Kyung Lau.
Oh, yeah, I see Wei Kyung all the time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He came here to my home. We had a couple different teachers here. He came, hung out, fixed my altar. I had some stuff wrong on it. And,
yeah. He said to get that. I haven't seen him in about a year and a half now.
Yeah,
but, it's this whole pandemic thing.
It ruined everything.
Yeah, but everything's coming back to normal. So that's why
many of the shops and restaurants went out of business in Philly. In Chinatown, one or two on every block almost. But now they're filling in again with bubble tea and desserts.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, you can't get enough bubble tea. I mean, there's so much tea in China, right?
I know. There's only so much tea in
That's
China.
the same. There's so much tea in China and Taiwan. It's like, come on. Right?
Yeah.
So, all right, Mark. It's been great talking to you. You keep safe. I hope to catch you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.